though, I wanted to give you guys some information about the spelling program that I like to use. It's all about spelling. It goes level 1 to 7, and they're not necessarily by grade. Level 1 starts out just with learning phonics, and I really like that right from the beginning, the kids are learning the letters, not necessarily, they already have letter recognition, but they're learning them with sounds, as with QU. We don't see Q by itself, it's always followed by U, and so that is how they start out learning the Q sound, and it's all phonics based. They also do the same thing with some of the consonant teams. So I really like that they are right off the bat learning that these letters can make sounds by themselves, but also if you put them together, they make a special sound. They have a fun little sheet. The first lesson can really just take as long as it needs to be. They just call them steps, and step 1 is learning the basic alphabet phonics, which would be A to Z, and that includes Q with the U. And then you can see where these bottom ones, there's 3 that come in at step 9, and those would be the TH, SH, and CH. And then at step 18, they're learning the CK, the NG, and the NK phonics teams. So the reason that I switched to All About Spelling is that this program gives spelling rules, which I love, because I had a frustrated speller that just had a hard time because she would tell me that, well, it could be this or it's this, and we would be crying. Not we, but she would be crying because she just didn't know which one, and she really doesn't like getting things wrong. So that's been a fun thing to deal with. So the All About Spelling has really taken most of that away. She knows when to use a K or a C for the K sound in the beginning, and part of that is in their key cards, which are really great. So you can see there that there's these key cards, and they are all done in steps. You can see this one is done at step 16. And this is the sound of K at the beginning of the word. So I really like this program. We've been using it for a year, and I have a first grader and third grader, and we have really enjoyed it, and both of them learn the rules, and so they can hear a word and they can decide whether or not, for example, they should start the word with a C or a K. So in the book, this is the teacher's manual. There's really not a student workbook. It's a lot of hands-on, and then they can do spelling words at the end to practice. So it starts with the first 26 phonograms. So the kids are focusing on just learning the different sounds that the letters can make. It's not an A for apple. It is A can say a, and ah. So as they're learning the phonograms, it's not that the letter says one sound, it's that all these different letters can make 1 to up to 3 or 4 sounds, which is really helpful when it comes down to learning the short and long sounds of the vowels. So I want to show you an example of a lesson. The spelling rule example I was using earlier was talking about when to use a C or a K for the K sound at the beginning. This is actually a 2-step lesson, if you want to call it. At first, they are teaching you when to use the C and when to use the K at the beginning of certain words, and it's all based on the vowel that follows them. It also goes through and shows you the key cards to use for the lesson. And it does have some script for it if you want to follow along and keep kind of a consistent verbiage, which I find helps. So the second part of the at the beginning, so first they talk about when to use those letters, and here it is, they're putting it into use. So you can see here that there is a list of words for them to practice. I learned all about spelling program through my cousin who has used it for several years, and I was fairly confident that this was going to be the right program for us. So I went ahead and purchased the app that is offered on their website, and I have really enjoyed it, as have my girls. There's letter tiles available on the website, but trying to keep letter tiles all straight and having to set them up every time we needed to use them seemed a little bit much for me personally. So the app has been real easy for the girls and I to use. Every time we're ready to do practice words, we get the app out and set it to the level we're on and the lesson or step, and it automatically shows all the tiles we need. So if I change lessons, it added tiles for us to use. Okay, so I'm going to go back to lesson 16 because that is the lesson I was showing earlier about when to use the C or the K when you hear K at the beginning. So the program teaches that when you hear the K at the beginning, first you should spell it with a C. So for the word kit, you first spell it with a C, and you notice that there's an I after the C, and in the lesson it teaches C does not come before I when it says K, or it doesn't say K before I. So then you use the K, and you can say, oh yeah, that's right. So this is just an extra thing that I have really enjoyed and I wanted to share with you guys.